The story begins on a passenger plane flying in the sky, where our main character Jack is comfortably sitting and preparing his drink. At that moment, everything was completely normal, and all the passengers were resting in their seats. But then, suddenly, powerful gusts of wind caused the entire plane to shake violently. The jolts were so dangerous that passengers without seatbelts were thrown into the air, and the oxygen masks from above dropped down. Due to the rising air pressure, a massive blast occurred in one of the plane's wings. The explosion was so horrific that the tail section of the plane broke off mid-air, causing several passengers to fall thousands of feet below. In the blink of an eye, the plane went completely out of control and hurtled toward a deserted island. The people inside were screaming at the top of their lungs to save their lives, but within seconds, the plane crashed into the dense bushes below, resulting in another loud explosion. When Jack opened his eyes, he found himself in a dense jungle. Panicking, he immediately ran outside, only to realize that he was stranded on an isolated island.
Just then, he heard the painful screams of humans from a distance. Without wasting any time, Jack ran toward the sound. The scene there had turned into complete devastation. Injured people were scattered everywhere, and chaos had broken out. Since Jack was the only doctor on that plane, he immediately got to work trying to save people's lives. But suddenly, a terrifying sound drew his attention. He noticed that a broken propeller from the plane could fall at any moment onto a pregnant girl trapped underneath. Sensing the danger, Jack immediately rushed toward her and saved her just before the propeller crashed into the ground, causing a violent explosion. Disregarding his own injuries, Jack kept working to save lives, but the earlier blast had already turned most of the injured into corpses. After a while, Jack walked deep into the jungle alone and tried to stitch his own wounds. However, the injury was on a part of his arm that his hand couldn't properly reach. Right then, a girl approached him. When Jack asked for help, she agreed to stitch his wound. She was astonished to see that Jack felt absolutely no pain, even without any anesthesia. This is how the two got introduced to each other. As night fell, Jack looked at the broken tail section of the plane and estimated that the cockpit might still be intact. He realized that if they could find a signal transmitter there, they could contact a rescue team.
Upon hearing this, the girl, whose name was Kate, suddenly remembered something. She mentioned that she had seen smoke rising from the valley during the day, which was likely where the cockpit had crashed. She immediately asked Jack to go there with her. This gave Jack a ray of hope. However, a terrifying roar suddenly echoed from the deep jungle. Everyone present immediately turned toward the sound. Then, distant trees began to snap one by one, making it obvious that a massive monster inside the jungle was rapidly heading their way. Fortunately, the creature did not show itself, and the surroundings became quiet again. The next morning, everyone gathered to discuss the mysterious creature from the night before. Some thought it was a dinosaur, while others believed it was a giant monster. Fear was now visibly written on everyone's faces. Jack was also terrified deep down, but he knew very well that if they wanted to get off this island alive, they had to reach the cockpit at all costs. Therefore, he set out into the dangerous jungle, taking Charlie and Kate along with him.
Shortly after, heavy rain began to pour from the sky, making it difficult to locate the cockpit. Meanwhile, the people hiding near the plane wreckage felt that the mysterious creature had awakened once again. However, the trio in the jungle knew nothing about this. After wandering for a long time, they finally spotted the nose section of the plane. When they looked inside, they discovered that all the passengers in first class had died. Jack slowly moved toward the cockpit, picked up a piece of iron, and tried to break the door lock. But right at that moment, what came out of the cockpit was merely a corpse. Once things calmed down a bit, Jack crawled inside the cockpit and started searching for the signal device. Suddenly, the pilot woke up. Looking closely, Jack realized the pilot was still alive and fortunately only had a head injury. The pilot then revealed the true cause of the crash. He explained that when their plane reached this mysterious sea region, all signals suddenly vanished. Understanding the danger, he wanted to turn the plane back immediately. But right then, a mysterious turbulence engulfed the entire aircraft. Within seconds, the plane began to break apart in midair, and he had knocked out. According to the pilot's estimate, they were currently stranded thousands of kilometers away from civilization in an unknown place.